So here's the part nobody designs for. Everyone leaves the room, the lights come up, the chairs get pushed back, and whatever was happening in the room is over. That's the moment the problem starts. And almost nobody is looking for it there. It doesn't matter what kind of session it was, the same pattern shows up whether the room was a keynote or a workshop or a training day or an offsite. Whoever was in the room had a real moment. They were paying attention, taking notes, nodding in the right places. A few of them looked up from their phones and stayed there. And then the room ended. For most of what happens in those rooms, that's it. The energy that was in the room kind of walks out the door with the people. The recording gets posted somewhere, the slides get emailed, and life moves on. Here's the thing. Every expert and every organization that puts people into a room has already answered the question of what happens after the room. Most of the time, though, the answer was nothing in particular, or we'll post a recording, or people will reach out if they want to learn more, or we'll do another one next quarter. None of those is an answer. They're kind of placeholders. They're what gets said when the design question wasn't asked in the first place. Now, the design question is this: what should the people in the room be able to find, return to, and use once the room is over? That question rarely gets asked before the room. It gets asked after, when the energy's gone and the audience scattered, and by then the work really has no place to go. The assumption underneath all of that is that strong content's going to survive on its own. The thinking goes something like this: session was great, so people will find their way back to it when they need it. Or the recording exists somewhere, so that counts as a record. If someone really cared, they'd reach out. None of those assumptions are true. The session usually did real work. The problem comes after, in the assumption that the session was enough. The room was one moment. The question is what gets built around that moment so the work has some place to go when people walk out. Here's what that looks like. If you've ever been responsible for whether a training day or an offsite works, you know what a strong one looks like. The conversation was real, the frameworks were taught and they were clear, and people walked out with things they were going to do differently. Then 6 months later, same leadership issues back on the table. Same managers are handling the same conversations the same way. The framework everybody nodded along with is sitting on a company drive and nobody knows where to find it. The session worked in the room. The work didn't go anywhere after. On the other hand, if you're a speaker, let's imagine you're presenting and you know what it feels like to close the room. The standing O, the line of people who want to talk to you, sign the book, cards get exchanged, hugs, handshakes, and people say things like, "This really changed how I think about my business or my life." And a week later, half of those people couldn't tell you your name. The recording was in their inbox somewhere, but it was never opened. The handouts went into the folder where handouts go to disappear. The keynote worked in the room, but your work didn't go anywhere after. What the work needs is a return place. It's a place that the audience can find the right piece later, not restart the whole session. That place is the pass, and the pass is what gets built when the design question's been answered up front. The environment the audience walks into when they want to come back. And the answer to that question has 3 parts. The work has to be structured so the audience can come back to specific pieces, not start the whole thing over. The work also has to be produced so that the screen shows the same seriousness the room had. And the work has to have a place to live where return is the designed goal, not an accident. So you got structure, you got produce, you got place. And together, that's what LeaderPass builds. So when the room ends and everyone leaves and the audience has somewhere to go that was built for them, not just a folder with a recording link or a reach out if you have questions email that you send out. It's a place that the work was put into intentionally where they can find the part they need when they need it. For anyone who delivers real work in a room, the question is what gets built around it so that the work has somewhere to go after. If the answer was, we'll post the recording, that was a placeholder. That's not an answer. The room did its work, but what happens after is its own design problem. And right now, almost nobody's designing it. When the question gets answered up front, though, the work has someplace to go. The pass is what was built for it. It's structured so that what mattered is still useful long after everyone left. The room ends when everyone leaves, but your work should already have a place to go.